Good morning and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of FIRSIS 2026. Now, I'd like to introduce our judges today. The Chief Judge is Dr. Muhammad Ramzan bin Muhammad Yusuf, Head of Mechanical Engineering Unit from Kedah Engineering Matriculation College. The second judge is Miss Helena binti Gapur from SMS Banting, BASIS. The third judge is Miss Kong Suk Mei from IGOP. And I, Dani Fakih binti Saiful Adli from Sekolah Basrama Penuh Integrasi Jempol, while the timekeepers Nurul Adlin binti Muhammad Syarizwan and Muhammad Nur Arash bin Muhammad Jalil are from Akademi Sains Pendang, Kedah. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-team assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at 9 minutes and twice at the 10 minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to our respected judges, teachers, and contestants. We are very honored to be presenting Sekolah Menengah Sains Datuk Setia Abdul Ghani Ali. We would like to briefly introduce ourselves first. My name is Iman.
My name is Iza.
And my name is Amirul.
Now, look closely at this gig worker. He works tirelessly and gets paid instantly per trip. However, because he is an independent contractor, he does not have any automatic retirement savings. Thus, he is working hard to survive today, but is completely unprotected for tomorrow.
Today, we would like to present to you our research framework titled AutoDrill EPF, Reinventing Decent Work Through Micro Savings.
Our presentation today will systematically dismantle the problem. We will guide you through our problem statement, literature review, our research objective, followed by our methodology, findings, and last but not least, our tech solution and its benefits.
Let's dive deep into our problem statement. First, Malaysia aims to strengthen financial resilience and formalize the informal workforce under UN SDG 8, with over 4 million gig workers contributing to our economy. However, according to EPF, less than 20% of gig workers actively maintain their regular retirement contribution. The issue is not that these gig workers does not care about their future.
The real issue is the grassroots financial reality and income volatility. Imagine being a gig worker after a long day of deliveries. To save money, you would have to log into another account, perform manual transactions, and go through TAC verifications. These steps over and over again every day just to save a few ringgit.
This creates the friction barrier. For workers whose income changes daily, saving a large amount at once becomes something unrealistic and difficult. As a result, retirement savings become something they'll do tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. Thus, AutoDrip solved this problem by removing manual choices entirely.
Now, moving on to our literature review. Today, in our presentation, we will be using three main terms. So, the first one is gig economy. What is gig economy? Gig economy is a platform where individuals can earn income. For example, digital platforms such as delivery platforms. One of the most famous delivery platforms in Malaysia right now is Foodpanda and GrabFood. The second one is social protection. Social protection is a system where it helps workers with their financial crisis and retirement savings. For example, KWSP. And lastly is AutoDrip Portable Benefit System, a micro contribution concept that seamlessly captures tiny fractions from active transactions to build assets effortlessly.
Moving on, let's take a look at our research objective. Our first research objective was to identify the primary financial barriers that are preventing these gig workers from continuously saving for retirement.
Our second research objective was to assess whether gig workers' actual willingness to adopt a completely micro deduction portable benefit system of just 20 cents to 50 cents per delivery for retirement savings.
Our third research objective was to determine precise users' preferences, specifically examining whether riders want customizable savings feature or fully automated platform-driven systems.
So, to achieve these objectives, our methodology deployed three research designs. Stage 1, we launched Stage 1 with intensive online reading. We deep dive into the structural economic journals, World Bank reports, Bank Negara publication, and lastly, international standards regarding gig workers' welfare.
Now, stage 2 shifted to a strict quantitative research where we formulated and deployed a highly strict detailed file survey. A highly strict file survey to active gig workers across the Melaka ecosystem, capturing 50 comprehensive responses to mathematically track their socioeconomic realities.
And finally, stage 3, integrated qualitative research. We conducted structured one-on-one deep dive interviews with active riders to fully understand their life financial anxieties, behavior hurdles, and real opinion on structural safety nets.
Let us take a look at the empirical data. As you can see from the data, about 45.2% of our respondents state that gig work is not a side hustle. In fact, it's their main source of income. They are predominantly young youth riders around the age of 21 and 30 years old. And shockingly, 41.9% of them state that they earn a net income below 500 ringgit. Oh wait, they are living on thin margins, working on financial tightrope every single day.
Now, let us look at the rider's data journey from our key analytical metrics. Chart 1, the baseline status says that 71% of our surveyed riders do not have an active retirement portfolio. Chart 2, the financial crisis. A terrifying 74% of our surveyed riders have less than 3 months of liquid savings. You could say that they are on thin ice, one motorcycle accident away from actual financial ruin.
When we look at the systemic barrier in chart 3, 51.6% cite high cost of living combined with 29% citing high volatile income as the problem to savings. But look at the breakthrough in chart 4, the solution acceptance. When asked if they would like to adopt an app that deducts 20 to 50 cents per delivery directly to KWSP, 51.6% said yes because it can effortlessly automate their future. Another 35.5% say yes, provided they can adjust the deduction caps. That is an overwhelming 87.1 validation rates from the grassroots.
Let us take a look at the media that we have prepared.
Ni abang buat full time.
Kerja sampingan.
Abang ni pesara. Ni kerja tambahan ni. Buat rider full time.
Kerja utama. Part time. Untuk Foodpanda kalau gig ekonomi memang tak ada KWSP.
KWSP tak ada.
KWSP ada?
KWSP, ya sukarela.
Buat masa ni abang tak buat lagi KWSP. Selesaikan komitmen lah.
Yang komitmen dulu lah. Komitmen bulanan dulu, lepas tu baru buat untuk simpanan dengan lepas tu baru buat untuk belanja. Kat KWSP sikit, insurans sikit, family.
Bagi untuk komitmen pun semua boleh balance lah.
Balance
lah.
Kereta semua hutang-hutang lah. Kita hutang kereta ke, rumah ke, puluhan anak-anak ke, semua kita uruskan.
Kalau nak kata berminat tak, abang kena fikir dulu.
Tahu kot sebab saya dah ada skim pencen lah sebenarnya. Boleh. Sebab app tu membantulah untuk kita buat simpan secara disiplin.
Ikut keperluan lah. Kalau tak ada keperluan, boleh masukkan. Kalau ada, kena simpan.
This clear mandate brings us to our core innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to our one and only app, the AutoDrip EPF app. Okay, so what is AutoDrip EPF exactly? AutoDrip EPF is actually an automated micro-saving system that is engineered to specifically remove human cognitive friction and help riders to accumulate their wealth invisibly and continuously as they work.
Now, the user journey is built on complete simplicity. The rider registers their profile, connects it to the rider's app, and turns on the AutoDrip engine. Each and every delivery that they complete, our system will make a background micro deduction of just 20 cents to 50 cents for retirement savings.
A tiny unnoticeable amount, for example, deducting or rounding up 50 cents, is split into two essential. One is for an emergency retirement money that is powered directly through KWSP. Another one is an emergency fund money that is accessible through their dashboards for instant shocks. This app tracks real-time data and gives smart reminders to the user without the user have to manually transfer a single cent.
The socioeconomic benefits bring us to four critical pillars. First, financially. Financially, it builds a long-term retirement security and short-term liquidity buffers without even denting the rider's immediate daily purchasing power. Second, technologically. Technologically, it turns a smartphone from a pure work tool into a passive wealth generator.
Now, from a social protection standpoint, it reintegrates independent contractors back into national workforces such as KWSP. Economically, it supports SDG 8, proving that digital platforms flexibility does not mean the harm of career dignity and safety nets.
This brings us to a conclusion where, through automated micro-saving system, we can create a new narrative for modern labor. We envision a future where every single drive completed, every mile driven, every drop of sweat on the road becomes a seamless step toward lasting financial resilience, career dignity, and most importantly, an unshakable quality of life.
Small drips today, a stronger future tomorrow.
That is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much. We are open to any questions.
I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Okay, good morning. Congratulations for a
morning.
very interesting app, I would say. Okay, so my question is, if your app were introduced nationwide, okay, what challenges do you anticipate in terms of adoption, financial literacy, and accessibility? Okay, and how do you address these challenges? Okay, what challenges do you anticipate in terms of adoption? They have to adopt to the app, right? And then financial literacy, because maybe some of them they don't really care about financial literacy and accessibility of the app. And how do you address the challenges? Okay.
So basically, as you know from the app, we start small from Malacca, right? So to face the challenges nationwide, we will have to improve the apps first. since we know there is like challenges from the data that we collected, that most of them really like to have the app that we own. So to make it nationwide is not, you could say that the nation would like to have this app too, knowing that Malacca as a tourist visiting site, like they want the app to exist in the first place. So the challenges that we would face would probably be like,
Would be like promoting it. Our system is it's a bridge from a delivery app to a EPF, such as KWSP. So having to bridge these nationwide, these food delivery companies, having to contact them, wanting them to collaborate with us would be a bit of a challenge. So I would say that would be our biggest challenge to make this app nationwide.
does that answer your question?
Thank you. Testing. Okay. Thank you for the nice presentations. Okay. I think your apps is very useful for the G worker. So my question is, have any G worker used these apps before, and how was their feedback? Have you passed to anyone to test the apps?
No, because this just we're just proposing the idea of having this app, and based on data that they want this app, but we are unable to.
Okay. Yeah.
But this app has been made before, but not in Malaysia. That's why we proposed the idea. In other countries such as Australia, United Kingdom, and Singapore, they have made this app before, and the feedback from the research that we researched, they said that it is very useful for gig workers. That's why we decided to propose the idea in Malaysia to open these gig workers' eyes, the government eyes, that these gig workers are having financial problems in terms of emergency funding and emergency retirement. That's why we decided to propose the app.
Thank you. I'm looking forward your apps. I
Thank
think it's very useful for them. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kolaborasi untuk integrasi pemilu.
In an era where artificial intelligence, automation, and digital technologies are reshaping industries, digital literacy is no longer an advantage, it is a necessity. As future leaders and contributors to global My name is Iyad Benur Adli Shahri, your main presenter for today. On my left is Aina Wedri Bintu Yusuf, our rapporteur, and on my right is our technical assistant Izatul Iman. And not to forget our lovely accompanying teacher, Madam Rofida. So let's get a rough idea of what actually we're talking about today. What is actually defined or meant by digital literacy? Digital literacy refers to the ability to use technology effectively and efficiently. Also, according to Thelma Sisi et al. 2034, digital literacy encompasses a broad range of competencies, including the ability to access and evaluate information, communicate effectively through digital mediums, and apply critical thinking to solve complex problems in a digital environment. This study was conducted to examine the relationship between digital literacy and youth readiness for the future workforce. As digital technologies continue to transform industries and workplaces, digital literacy has become an increasingly important skill for employability and career success. So now that we have a rough idea of what actually we are talking about today, let's move on to the more serious problems that are the problem statements. So the first one, digitalization is rapidly changing the nature of work and increasing the demand for digital competencies. Although youth now are frequent users of technologies, the extent to how the digital literacy contributes to the workforce readiness is still unclear and remains limited. Okay, beyond that, not all youth have equal access to digital resources, training opportunities, and stable internet connections. This digital divide may create disparities in the future workforce, particularly between urban and rural populations. At the same time, the emergence of artificial intelligence and technological innovation is transforming workplace expectations. Now, youth are required to develop new skills in order to remain competitive and relevant to the workforce. As a result, an important question arises. Are Malaysian youth truly prepared for the future workforce? For that, our study sought to fulfill three main objectives that are to determine the level of digital literacy among Malaysian youth, to assess the level of readiness of Malaysian youth for the future workforce, and to combine these two variables to examine the relationship between digital literacy and workforce readiness among Malaysian youth. So that concludes for my parts of the presentation. For the next part, that is the methodology, I hand this stage over to our digital technical assistant, Izatul Iman.
Thank you, Iyad. Now I will continue with our methodology. For our study, we conducted a survey using Google Forms. We managed to have a total of 60 respondents to participate in the survey. The questionnaire consisted of several sections, including demographic information, digital literacy, workforce readiness, challenges faced by youth, and perception toward a youth-led digital literacy initiative. The collected data was then analyzed to identify the relationship between the digital literacy and workforce readiness among Malaysian youth. Among the 60 respondents, the majority were between 15 and 17 years old. The demographic revealed a broad representation of Malaysian youth and their perspective towards digital literacy and workforce readiness. Now, let us move on to our first objective. The study examines the level of digital literacy among Malaysian youth. The findings showed that 55% of respondents rated their digital literacy as good and excellent. In addition, 80% reported having online research skills, while 68.3% indicated proficiency in using AI tools. However, only 15% possess coding skills and only 15% possess coding skills and having cybersecurity awareness. These findings suggest that Malaysian youth generally possess moderate to high levels of digital literacy. However, advanced digital competencies such as coding and cybersecurity still remain limited. This indicates a gap between basic digital technological use and even specialized skills that are increasingly required in the modern workforce. Now, for the second objective, the study explored workforce readiness among Malaysian youth. The results showed that 73.7% of respondents felt prepared or very prepared to use digital technology in the future workplace. This indicates a generally positive perception of workforce readiness among Malaysian youth. However, the limited levels of advanced digital skill earlier suggest that confidence may not always reflect actual preparedness for the demands of a rapidly evolving digital economy. Now, for the third objective, the study examined the relationship between digital literacy and workforce readiness. The findings suggest a positive relationship between the two variables. Respondents who demonstrated stronger digital competencies also reported greater confidence in adapting to future workplaces. The results indicate that digital literacy plays an important role in preparing youth for a technology-driven workforce. The findings are consistent with previous studies, which suggest that digital competencies contribute significantly to employability, adaptability, and overall career readiness. The survey also identified several challenges faced by Malaysian youth in developing digital skills. The most commonly reported challenge was a lack of time, highlighted by 66.7% of respondents. This was followed by a lack of opportunities at 58.3%, while internet access issues and cost barriers were each reported by 33.3% of respondents. Additionally, many respondents concerned about rapid technological change, increasing competition from AI, and the mismatch between educational outcomes and industry requirements. These challenges highlight the need for more accessible opportunities, targeted training programs, and stronger support system to help youth enhance their digital competencies and workforce readiness. Thank you. That concludes my section of the presentation. I will hand over the presentation to Aina.
Thank you, Izzatul, for presenting the findings of our study. Based on these findings, it is evident that while Malaysian youth generally possess good digital skills and feel prepared for future workplace, important gaps still exist in advanced digital skills such as coding, cybersecurity, and data analysis. Before presenting our recommendations, we would like to highlight one important finding from our survey. Based on the findings, it is evident that while Malaysian youth generally possess good digital skills and feel prepared for future Based on these findings, it is evident that while Malaysian youth generally prepared for future workplace and future readiness, a total of 28.3% selected definitely yes and 63.3% selected probably yes. When the respondents were asked whether they would be willing to both learn from and share skills with other youth through a youth-led skill sharing initiative on digital literacy. And these results were overwhelmingly positive. That means that 55 out of 60 respondents, representing 91.6%, showed a positive willingness to participate in a youth-led skill sharing initiative. Based on the strong support from the respondent, we would like to propose the following recommendations to further enhance digital literacy and future workforce. Firstly, we would like to propose the implementation of school-based digital literacy programs, as 85.7% of respondents identified school programs as the most effective initiative in developing digital literacy. Secondly, general emphasis should be placed on developing workforce-oriented digital competencies, particularly in artificial intelligence, coding, cybersecurity, and data analytics. Thirdly, we propose the idea of having a community workshops online course learning opportunities, and peer mentoring programs as to provide youth with a more accessible pathway in developing their skills. This initiative could help bridge the gap between basic technology usage and workforce-oriented digital technologies. We have developed several recommendations for this initiative. For students, we encourage them to engage in a continuous self-learning to stay relevant in digital workforce. For schools and educational institutions, we encourage the project-based learning involving technology use and also using the digital literacy across subjects in school. For government and policymakers, efforts should focus on improving digital infrastructure and expanding digital upskilling among youth. And lastly, for future researchers, efforts, they should explore this topic in more larger scale and also explore additional factors such as socio-economic background, access to technology, and school curriculum exposure. In conclusion, our study found that Malaysian youth generally demonstrate moderate to high levels of digital literacy and workforce readiness. However, significant gaps remain in advanced digital competencies that are increasingly demanded in today's workforce. The findings suggest that digital literacy plays an important role in preparing youth for future employment and should therefore be continuously strengthened through education, training, and accessible learning opportunities. By equipping Malaysian youth with necessary digital skills, we could cultivate a more innovative, adaptable, and a better future workforce that is aligned with Sustainable Development Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. With that, we conclude our presentation. Assalamualaikum and thank you.
I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, I have one question. Okay, you are the students in the boarding school. So in your opinion, what you can do to promote digital literacy among your friends? Yes, what is your role? Thank you.
Okay. So your question is how can we promote digital literacy among boarding school students as their peers, right? Okay. In my opinion, how can we promote digital literacy among peers is personally I'm a ASK student that is basic computer science. As ASK students, we can slowly introduce them to basic computing skills such as coding, basic coding, and Python. So if we promote these digital literacy skills that are also important digital competencies for the future workforce, eventually they will start to get interested in these digital competencies. So to answer your question shortly, several initiatives should be taken by peers that have higher digital competencies than others.
Okay, thank you for your response. Okay, the next question is, can I know how you distribute your Google Form to the youth? How are you choosing the respondents?
Okay, so how we actually distribute this survey or Google Form is we selected a few volunteers from each class from each form. We have 4 classes in total, and we picked three people out of 2 people out of all of the classes. So that is the minimum amount of respondents that we collected. As we stated before, 4 classes for each form and 2 person per class. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 4 is 32. So after the 32 respondents, we also collected the volunteers that are interested in answering the survey. Along that, we also distributed the survey among our teachers and staff members and also our family. So that is how we distribute our survey.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, so this is the end of questions. So thank you, the presenters. Thank you for the presentation.
Now, I would like to invite SBP Integrasi Kubang Pasu, ICUPS, to present.
Imagine a world where traditional educational barriers dissolve and young minds flourish in a digital landscape.
What if the path to success was defined not by a formal degree, but innovation and collaboration?
Presenting Riding the Digital Wave, Youth Journeys at 42 Malaysia to secure decent work. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. My name is Noha.
My name is Raihan, together with our team member, coached and guided by our teacher advisor, Ms. Nur Zafarini.
We represent SBP Integrasi Kubang Pasu. To begin, the post-pandemic era has catalyzed the global growth of the digital economy. Industries worldwide have transformed drastically due to the critical demand of digital skills. Recognizing this, UNESCO designated Youth Empowerment in AI and Digital Skills as the theme for World Youth Skills Day 2025. They reported that 48% of students do not feel prepared for an AI-enabled workplace, and 70% of youth globally are disengaged due to a lack of skills.
Regarding global initiative, we have observed a surge of coding bootcamps and programs such as Leeuwagen, Codeworks, and Next Academy. On the other hand, UNESCO has also developed the Skills for the Future global platform. In Malaysian context, the Department of Statistics Malaysia reported in 2025 that 1.25 million Malaysians employed in the Malaysian ICT industry. We also identified that Malaysian employers now demand more than just technical abilities. They prioritize problem solving, communication, and information literacy.
Moving to our research background, we have chosen to focus on 42 Malaysia. First, let us introduce the 42 Network. Established in Paris in 2013, 42 Network is a global computer science school currently operating in over 30 countries with more than 50 campuses. The program is tuition-free and utilizes peer-to-peer pedagogy. Uniquely, it employs project-based learning and gamification within a teacherless environment.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us examine 42 Malaysia, a nation-building initiative supported by the Sunway Education, the Jeffrey Chow Foundation, and Dana Impact. Launched in Kuala Lumpur in 2020, the first campus is located in Sunway Future X building. There are currently 3 campuses, 42 Kuala Lumpur, 42 Iskandar Puteri, and 42 Penang. They also collaborated with partners such as Dana Impact and AmBank.
Participants enjoy excellent facilities including dedicated workstations and collaboration areas. These are some of the achievements. Regarding curriculum structure, there are 2 types of learners, Pisciners and cadets. Pisciners are those who pass the initial logic and memory games to enter the piscine, while cadets are those who successfully pass the piscine and progress to the core program.
The process begins with online registration followed by online games. Successful candidates enter the piscine, and those who pass the stage move to the common core program, which typically takes up to 24 months. Upon completion, cadets are offered with internship or job placement by 42 Malaysia partner armed with a portfolio of projects. The final stage is the advanced program, where cadets specialize in tech area to earn RNCP certification.
Regarding career pathways, there are 8 specializations including AI and data, cybersecurity, and web development. Statistically, 98% of cadets in the advanced curriculum secure employment before graduation.
Our research focuses on 3 keywords. The first one is digitalization, socio-cognitive career theory, and SDG 8.
The current issue is that existing research in the Malaysian industry heavily focuses on employer expectations and general labor demand. Consequently, there is limited research on the socio-economic challenges and psychological issues faced by Malaysian youth when joining such coding bootcamp. By identifying the support system required, we aim to provide stakeholders with insights to better foster our future technology talent pipeline.
Our study is guided by 4 research objectives. The first one is to investigate the opportunities provided by 42 Malaysia for Malaysian youth to develop digital and technological competency. The second one is to explore the challenges encountered by 42 Malaysia cadets during the curriculum and the coping strategies they employ. The third one is to identify the type of support required by 42 Malaysia cadets throughout their learning journey. And the last one is to examine the role of 42 Malaysia in preparing youth for future employment and career readiness.
This study employs social cognitive career theory as our theoretical framework. Essentially, this theory posits that career decisions are influenced by multiple factors beyond mere interest, which boost motivation and decision making. It comprises 3 main components relevant to our research, which are personal goals, self-efficacy, and outcome expectations.
Our study utilizes both primary and secondary data. For primary data, we visit the 42 Kuala Lumpur campus and conduct a structured interview with 2 of the cadets and the head of the campus. For secondary data, we analyze the social media posts, the official website, the 2023 until 2025 impact report, and news articles. We then synthesize our findings using thematic analysis based on Brown and Clark's method.
Our findings for research objective 1 highlight the theme innovative and inclusive pedagogical pathways for digital empowerment. The selection process based on an online game removes traditional entry barriers. This provides opportunities for underprivileged Malaysian youth. The program fosters collaboration through hands-on and peer-to-peer learning.
For research objective 2, we identified the theme holistic workforce readiness through technical mastery and soft skill development. The curriculum cultivates problem-solving skills that enhance cadet portfolio and job prospects. Now, let us listen to the graduates themselves.
Being curriculum teaches us a lot about resilience and keep going on even though we keep failing. So I think resilience and perseverance helps me with my career.
I'll say perseverance. You fail and you learn. Yeah, sometimes you need to be glad when you fail. Yeah. 42 KL, their education is very practical, right? So we learn all the practical skills that is required as a full stack developer. And just from that, I landed my current role.
Experience did help, but what I think helped the more is the networking. The people that I would have never known if I did not join school.
what 42 actually teaches us to do is to be more independent of learning. Because I feel that with conventional studies, we actually have like schools where it's most all the materials will be actually spoon fed instead of like us trying to learn ourselves. We actually have the ability to learn, improve on your learning skill. So that kind of attitude that I have, that kind of skills that I have, let me know because they figure out I can learn pretty fast on my class.
For research objective 3, we discovered the theme navigating socio-economic barriers and psychological pressures. Cadets face challenges such as financial strain and psychological pressure of feeling left behind. To address financial needs, they receive milestone stipends via K-Youth. Furthermore, cadets utilize a cycle of iterative failure and success to build resilience and strengthen self-efficacy and effectively preventing burnout.
Finally, for research objective 4, we identified the theme integrated financial, peer, and institutional support system. Funding subsidies, internship, and networking are crucial in helping cadets transition from education to their careers.
So, this study highlights that 42 Malaysia supports youth through financial aid from organizations such as Yayasan Hasanah, K-Youth, and Yayasan Tunku Abdul Rahman. The peer-to-peer support system enforces the teacherless model, allowing you to find their own path to success, while the accessible 24/7 campus facilities provide an ideal learning environment. By developing resilience, soft skill, and independent problem solving, 42 Malaysia cadets contribute directly to target 8.2 and 8.6 of SDG 8.
This study was limited to cadets from single 42 Malaysia campus. Therefore, finding may not be able to fully generalize to all Malaysian youth. However, the diverse experiences of our participants provide valuable insight for future research.
For future research, we recommend conducting a comparative study across other campuses to explore how different locations and support systems influence cadet development.
This study demonstrates that digital skilling programs like 42 Malaysia are most effective when technical training is combined with supportive and collaborative environment. Together, these elements cultivate resilient, skilled, and workforce-ready youth capable of solving real-world problems. Here are the references.
Unlock potential, create the change, build the future. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This is very good topic and a very good presentation.
Thank you.
My question is, the text describe 42 Malaysian as having a teacherless peer-to-peer pedagogy. Okay, teacherless tak ada cikgu. Then independent study. So, in your word, explain how you think a school without teacher who actually work. What might be the pro and cons?
Okay, thank you for the question, Doctor. So based on our research, so the teacherless environment, 42 Malaysia is a peer-to-peer adapted the peer-to-peer learning system. So where where there are no instructors, no lecturers, and so on. So the cadets there, after doing the project, they will review each of another. So by that, they will be, they will know their what's they're been doing wrong and what's they've been doing right, and they can review each other's after the projects have been done. So the pros is that it really helped in building resilience, because when someone have been doing a project and success in that, they will have higher self-efficacy, which are the one of the keywords for social cognitive career theory. Okay, but the cons is that so the cons is that So make
Excuse me. So what we find, based on the research that we did, we find that the cons are the cons are they are not the same as the um traditional teaching method like we learn at the school, and even though these studies we are focusing on non-traditional use, but not all of them are familiarized with peer-to-peer method. So, but as we can see on the bright side, peer-to-peer method can be resilient, better than the traditional method.
Thank you, very good. That's all. Ada soalan? Tak ada. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I would like to invite St. Mark's World School, India to present.
Imagine being told since childhood that education is the key to success. So naturally, you spend years in classroom, get a degree, and expect job opportunities. But instead, you are rejected, not because you lack the potential, but because you were never given the experience you needed for it. While graduates remain unemployed, employers continue to report talent shortages. This paradox is the defining workforce crisis of our generation. Good morning to one and all present here. We are from St. Mark's World School, New Delhi, India. Today, we are here to talk about the growing education employment gap through our presentation, The Invisible Invoice. Let me first introduce you to my team. We have Mahika as our presenter, Hunar as our moderator, and Aditi as a rapporteur, guided by our teacher advisor, Ms. Ruchi Garg.
SDG 8 calls for decent work and economic growth. Simple goal, but here's the catch. It doesn't just ask for more jobs, it asks for decent jobs, productive jobs, jobs that match what people studied for, what they trained for. But now the promise is being broken quietly, systematically, and at a scale that most people don't realize. Let me introduce you to our primary problem. No stakeholder bears the full cost, so no one fixes the system. Our first stakeholder is the government. They broadly fund the education, but they don't force universities to produce more graduates the industry needs. Second stakeholder are the universities, which are funded by enrollment and not by the number of students that find jobs. Our third and last stakeholder are the employers, who benefit from skilled workers but refuse to pay for training or fund training pipelines. This is not a knowledge problem. This is an incentive problem. And we call it the invisible invoice. The bill for fixing the system exists. It just has no name on it, so nobody pays for it.
Our research has three layers. The primary research has been done through a survey which has been conducted across four nations: India, Sri Lanka, Hungary, and Australia, including 17 questions talking about different aspects. The second line includes research across 14 plus fee sources from various categories. The third method is benchmarking across high research design parameters, which goes ranging from 1 to 10. Now let us imagine six countries facing the same problem, yet tackling them through different means and having different outcomes.
Now, Country A's curriculum was designed decades ago, lacking present day practical skills. Here, students train in theoretical relevant skills, even though very limited opportunities are offered in such expertise. Country A's high youth unemployment stems largely from a major skills gap, resulting in protests for better governance. Country B's youth unemployment rate is low due to mismatch between education and the labor market. The country's low official youth unemployment rate is an illusion, as it excludes the resting youth who have dropped out of statistics entirely, even when 64% of them hold a college degree or higher. Half of the university graduates here are employed in a field unrelated to their studies, and the number one reason of suicide among the youth is directly linked to education pressure. Country C's 44.5% of the youth holds a tertiary education degree. Yet in this nation, roughly 17% of the youth are unemployed, simply because the education system refuses to evolve. This led to several protests against low wages, eventually resulting in over 3,500,000 people leaving the country over a span of 8 years. In Country D, 82% of the youth holds at least an upper secondary or higher qualification, yet only 1% of the graduates can hit the ground running. Just because the universities refuse to evolve and tech skills become outdated in just 2.5 years, while traditional courses still run for 3 to 4 years. Country D has started to deal with this gap, resulting in students gaining access to in demand careers, improved employability, and greater adaptability. Imagine Country E has just 6 million people, where 99% of them have an upper secondary qualification. Here, the curriculum is efficient, as it has work study programs. Their model works, but there are still many cracks in it, as 80% of the graduates secure full time permanent jobs in just 6 months of their graduation, but only 45% university graduates, land up such jobs. Country F has the most efficient system, the dual education system. This results in in almost 90% of employment rate among the youth with vocational qualifications. Yet this system has some flaws, as basic skills like math, reading, and science are deteriorating, proving that all systems require maintenance.
The shocking part is these are not imaginary countries but actual ones.
Country A is Nigeria, B is South Korea, C is Greece, D is Australia, E is Singapore, and country E is Germany. Now look at this graph. The stakeholder accountability column tells the whole story. Nigeria scores 1, while Germany scores 9. The difference is not resources or intelligence, it is one thing. Who is held responsible when a graduate can't find work? Germany has fewer graduates than Greece, yet 3 times better employment outcomes. Education quality is not the variable, accountability is.
That is our thesis, proven in data. We didn't just trust published data, we asked the generation living this. 21 respondents, 4 nations, and 17 questions.
57% feel unprepared for the real job market despite years of education. 95% said their education felt irrelevant to what employers need. 86% fear AI will replace their jobs. Yet only 5% received guidance from their institution. 67% are self learning outside school on their own time and money. And when we asked who is responsible for fixing the gap, 67% said all stakeholders equally. They gave us our thesis without knowing it. This gap doesn't just stay contained, it ripples. AI replaces the exact jobs graduates trained for. Vocational stigma keeps 73% of parents pushing degrees even when they know trades offers more security. Youth falls into informal gig work with no contracts, no protection, and 15.9% of the 18 to 25-year-olds experienced a major depressive episode in 2024. The system's failure has ugly consequences.
So here we are with our first solution. Skills Economy Alignment Council, SEAC. This is a constitutional mechanism in every nation making sure that someone is always paying the price.
Our model will work on constitutional entrenchment, meaning that this body cannot be dissolved without at least two-thirds of the parliament voting for it. The dual levy compact, meaning that universities and employers both contribute. A public accountability dashboard, which will at all times display every university graduate employment rates and notify when the rates plummet. The curriculum clock, meaning that in every 18 months, the relevance of a curriculum will be checked.
But the actual question is, who is going to fund it?
The seed funding will be given by the government and it cannot be cut below a floor percentage. Then, the university graduate outcome levy, the worse your graduates perform, the more you contribute. Then the employer skills compact fee, which is the membership administration cost. Then the skills repair fund, in which returns fund operations. And now you may ask, why does it work? Well, before SEAC, before SEAC, no cost was bared by the universities for unemployment graduates. But after SEAC, they have to pay a levy. Then, before SEAC, employers got a free ride-on publicly trained talent. But after SEAC, they had to opt into compact for benefits or lose competitive advantages. Before SEAC, governments reformed for optics but abandoned within the next elections. But after, they cannot dismantle constitutional body. Then, the youth used to bear the cost alone, but now it is equally contributed. Then we have a second solution, Graduate Workforce Integration Framework, GWIF. This policy doesn't guarantee jobs, but guarantees access to experience. It also works on 4 principles. The graduate workforce target, basically ensuring that companies with over 100 employers must maintain 5 to 10% of recent graduates. And as an incentive for completing this, governments must subsidize them. Then the development mandate, meaning that every graduate gets a named mentor within 30 days with a minimum number of training hours. The sector flexibility, where specialized sectors get exemption from paying in the skills repair fund.
SEAC and GWIF are not two separate solutions. These are but two halves of the same system.
SEAC sets the standards, and enforces constitutional accountability. GWIF translates that into actual hiring policy on the ground. And the Skills Repair Fund receives levy contributions from non compliant companies to train the graduates those companies fail to absorb. Together, they close the loop that has always been open. Universities produce graduates, employers absorb them, governments fund the system. And SEAC ensures that all three are permanently accountable for what happens in between. Decent work for all is not a promise education alone can keep. It requires a system where every stakeholder, that is, university, employer, and government, stands behind the graduate walking out the door, not in theory, structurally, financially, and permanently.
The invisible invoice has always existed. We just finally found a way to make someone pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Okay, thank you for the interesting presentations. I have some questions. Since I know that your respondents from different countries, so may I know how you select them? What criteria you consider when you select the respondent from these certain countries? And how actually you conduct the survey with the students from different countries? So I have two questions. Thank you.
Okay, so we had one basic parameter, that is the ones who are affected by this whole paradox of unemployment should answer our survey. Basically, all the students that who have responded are from the age of 16 to 21. So because this is the youth that we want to empower, this is the youth that will be affected. Coming to how did we conduct it, we have our school enables a lot of student exchanges and global programs, so we used our exchange networks to reach out to them and told them about our study and gave them this simple survey without telling them before that what is all of this about. They did not validate us. We just told them to fill the form and they filled it, and somehow that was exactly what we had found, and it was so accurate that it implied and implied whatever the world data of WEF and ICO and IDO show.
So they are actually the exchange student in your school.
No, they're not in our school, but yeah, we have done exchange programs with them.
Okay, thank
They
you.
are
so much.
they have filled the forms from their own countries.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this question is to all of you. Each of you have to answer. Okay, what was your biggest learning experience throughout the project?
The biggest learning experience from this project was definitely it opened my eyes to what is actually going around. Like even in our school, there are certain AI programs, but they're not on the level in which they should be taught. No one is actually taking accountability for what is happening. And now that I'm also in 11th grade, so I was looking forward to certain universities for my upcoming years. But then I found these statistics, and it really got to me that no one is actually teaching what I need in real life. So where should I go? That is why I came up to this.
One of the biggest learnings that I have found from this study and the whole presentation is how everything is connected but still unanswered. As the topic says, take it forward. It means empowering the youth for a world which is, futuristic and tech enabled. While we study with a system that has not progressed for decades, we are just we are the workforce which is not even needed. So why is it happening? Since recently Nepal had protests where the youth led those protests for democracy. My question was, if the youth can raise their voices against democracy, why not against a system that is not teaching them what they need? And that is the question of why is nothing happening that led to this presentation, this whole idea, giving solutions of policies which are not only just some apps or data or some pact that the world signs, rather some policies which are tech enabled, which are futuristic, and they fit into our democracies and monarchies in a way that actually benefit the youth, so that we contribute to the world and the world can help us grow.
What I learned from this project is I just realized that
Nobody is actually fixing this problem. Like it just keeps on pushing forward to the next stakeholder, and nobody is actually taking care of it when it should be like the priority of them. And as this is targeting the youth, so which is like basically the future generation, so they have to like a really important problem which should be really targeted right now, as this really affects what the further economy is.
Okay, those answers perfectly. Okay, answered my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have more questions? Thank you so much.
Now, I would like to invite the last team, Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Bentong Superb, to present.
Let me start again. Artificial intelligence. The rise of artificial intelligence has benefited many, including sectors like industry, businesses, and also education. But according to the laws of physics, when something goes up, something else, another force will go down. And that exactly is what's happening right now. The workforce is currently facing a huge problem that there's a big gap going on. And that's exactly the questions of what workers are going to do, what workers are going to face, is what we're going to present today. With the title Bridging the Gap Between Education and Industry, we are preparing students for the future workforce in the age of artificial intelligence. And I would like to introduce our team, teacher advisor Maria Anissa, and me, Zaida, and also Farid. Moving on to, before we dive further into our interview, before we dive further into our research, there are a few things I would like to highlight
to put us the whole room into one topic. First is the AI literacy. AI literacy refers to the foundational skills, the foundational understanding of how AI works, and also how its limitations, and also how to harness the digital tools responsibly and effectively. And moving on is workforce readiness refers to the demands hybrid skill set that combines both valued human soft skills and also uh, human soft skills and also technical uh, cap- okay. Moving on is that Malaysia, which is the MDEC, Malaysia's Digital Economy Corporate, is that they are currently aggressively initiating uh, aggressively initiating transformation to our country. They are trying to change our country into a digital hub. However, because the changes are too rapid, there is a gap in between what schools are actually teaching, and because due to the rapid transformation, schools cannot keep up with the changes. Moving on, and that is the basis of our problem statement, is that traditional higher education is failing to keep pace with the massive disruption caused by artificial intelligence in modern workplace. And this is supported by Dryadakis in 2026, is that he stated that higher education cannot keep pace with rapid workplace AI integration. And this causes a deficit, which the cause is traditional degree structures lack agile alignment with evolving industry demands, which is stated by Kovalev in 2025. And what exactly does this impact? Is that graduates face a career friction while industry severe shortage of job-ready talent. Moving on to our research questions. Our research questions is what we want to find out the gap. We want to evaluate how wide is the gap between the foundational skills taught in schools and the practical AI-driven competencies demanded by today's industry. And the second research question is what specific soft skills that industry is demanding from their fresh graduates, from the people who are applying for the job. And the third research question is what are possible solutions that we can actually implement in the real world. Moving on is our objective is exactly the same, but it's just in a different wording. First is we want to evaluate the gap, and the second is we want to identify what skills that we needed, and also we want to explore the possible actionable solutions that we can actually implement. Moving on, uh, our team has used the methodology, the mixed book methodology, by combining the quantitative and qualitative research. Okay. For reference, we have used the qualitative. We have interviewed a few interviewees in that have expertise in our field, and we also conducted open-ended questions in our questionnaires. And for the quantitative, we have conducted a questionnaire by using the Likert scale. The Likert scales with 1 for disagree and 5 for strongly agree, with 2, 3, 4 as the neutral neutral scores. And we also have the scores, quantitative scores, which we have collected among 4-5 students. And why exactly 4-5 students, you ask? Because 4-5 students are the ones who are going to face the actual reality of the future workforce. Going on with the interviews, stated by Adams in 2015 that interviews are highly effective for clarifying complex issues that emerge from qualitative findings. This captures the nuanced perspective of stakeholders and administrators numbers alone flattened, which means that by the quantitative data and the numerical values that we have received from them, interviews actually explains exactly why are they happening. Moving on, I'm going to introduce the interviewees that we have interviewed, which first is the ICT teacher and also the data engineer. The ICT teacher provides the educator's perspective of our current problem and also provides real-time, real-world of what exactly is happening in schools. And for the data engineer, he is going to give the industry's perspective of what realistically what industries are demanding. Moving on. The interviews we have structured into 4 core sections. Each one of the section has its own functions, and also we have our own things to prove. For second, this is for the educators. This is for the educated industry's perspective. We have also the same things. Going on. For the questionnaire that we have conducted among 4 or 5 students, is we also have divided sections in the student questionnaires, and the last one being the open-ended questions. It's for the qualitative side for the students. Moving on to our key findings, what exactly did we find for our research? The first research question that we are going to answer is, how wide is the gap? So according to the student questionnaire results, students actually scored a total of 4.07 out of 5 for students with digital literacy, meaning that they are confident in what they already have. And for the school preparation, the students rated school preparation of 3.11 out of 5, which means that schools are lagging behind for validated digital skills, and so on and so forth. And this is backed up by interviews we have conducted. The ICT teacher has said that students face challenges and limitations because schools aren't actually schools don't have the facilitation. And for the data engineer, they also have stated that even universities that have provided important foundational knowledge, but however, the things that they have already taught is not enough because industry requirements are evolving faster than academic curricula. And going on to our research question, we are going to answer what skills are needed. And according to the student questionnaire, we're going to see what exactly did the students answered. First, we can see that students aren't actually ready by the 3.99 out of 5 in section E. And for the open-ended questions, in question 34, we asked them what they think are important for their future careers. They have said that ranking first is communication and public speaking, and the second is the technical AI literacy. And this is backed up. The findings are overlapping. For the interviews, is that the ICT teacher has said that the SK students are already exposed to digital skills that they have said, and also the subjects are also providing opportunities to develop communication and teamwork. And this also is backed up by the data engineers saying that in the real phase of industry, they often frequently collaborate with other departments, which means they need communication and comprehension skills. Moving on to the second research question is we wanted to find a solution. What exactly did those three stakeholders that we have asked, what exact solutions they will want to be implemented? The first is we asked the students, and they have said they are demanding technical, physical tools in their school. And continuing on, for the interview, the ICT teacher says that programs would help the students become future ready, and the data engineer says that we have to strengthen industry with we have to strengthen partnership between schools and industry for more exposure towards what industry actually demands. And for all of this, we have a few recommended solutions for our stakeholders. First, we wanted to apply models, saying that the basic things that we already have in school is actually not enough. And we wanted to upgrade what we already have by using applied models and targeted digital literacy tracks and coding exercises, foundational e workshops. By implementing this, we have project learnings, which we wanted to achieve the immersive teamwork that is actually happening in industries, and we are learning to replicate industry problem solving dynamics. And going on is we wanted to build professional industry, school and industry partnership to have career talks and such and such. Going on to the limitations, what exactly are we lacking in our research? The first thing is that we have inconsistencies in candidate answers, research for only from certain perspective, also in the lack in the aspect of qualitative and quantitative. The thing is that we are only secondary students, secondary school students, and the research we have conducted isn't exactly reliable. But however, the things that we have included in our slide, for example, like the citations, actually says that the things we are stating are plausible and actually is happening in the real world. Moving on, what exactly does our research impacts towards everyone is that we provided an offering we are offering actionable insights for multiple stakeholders. The first is that education and leadership policy. We have provided an empirical basis to upgrade secondary IT curricula. And for the second, for the classroom educators, we have highlighted the ground level necessity for professional development in emerging technologies. And for the third, is that school and industry collaboration, we have highlighted that we have to create structured real-world collaborative programs. And moving on, after all, after all the things I have said, the conclusion is that the reality students are confident with their skills, with their basic tech. However, school lessons are falling behind to keep pace with the AI-driven workforce that is actually evolving even faster. And second, the problem is that the things that we already have in school is not enough. And the solution for this is actually very simple, is that schools must adapt and must pivot towards teaching dynamic skills like data literacy, critical problem solving, and AI adaptability. And with that, I conclude our presentation today. That's all from us, and we are open for questions from the panel.
And now I would like to invite the judges to ask questions.
Okay, thank you for the interesting presentation. Okay, AI is transforming many industries. Okay, how do you think schools can integrate AI into learning while still ensuring that the students develop independent thinking skills and problem solving skills?
In my opinion, in what I actually understand, is that the usage of AI, we have to highlight to students that the usage of AI is just a tool. And schools are the ones we can use AI in school projects and such and such. But however, what schools actually need to do is to instill discipline towards the student and show exactly that physical individual growth is important and we can't really depend on AI. I think that answers the question.
Okay, students, what do you think about using AI in your academic? What is your opinion on this? How you view AI?
In my opinion, I think it is very helpful because it can help me boost my academic and finding the right sources for my subjects such as English, Bahasa Melayu, and math while using it wisely.
So based on your personal experiences, AI can give you instant answers. Like AI can just generate you a complete essay for English. So how you train yourself to use AI more effectively? Like AI is the tool, but AI is not replacing you. Yeah. How are you going to use it?
Generated AI essay is very repetitive, so I need to find the right sources by using the right web browser, and while finding the right sources, I can still
and using the mindset that AI is just a tool and not my master, and over dependent in using it.
Thank you. So you don't over rely on AI. This is your opinion. Okay, thank you so much. This is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the interesting presentation. Thank you to all the educators for your time.